We go to Mina on the morning of Yawm al-Tarwiyah, 8th of Dhul Hijjah. On the morning of Yawm al-Tarwiyah, the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. My dear brothers and sisters, you can see Mina is a vast area and it all looks the same. Some people assume that, yes, I'm from Europe and America, mashallah, I've traveled the world and I've done, I've been to 20, 30 countries, mashallah, tabarakallah. So when I go to Mina, I'll be fine, I'll get my map out and I'll be sorted. And, and then what happens? Suddenly, one day's gone. Brother, I haven't seen him for a long time. Maybe another day, half a day's gone. And then, oh, how are you, brother? I haven't seen you for a while. Did you go to another group? Or did you go somewhere else? No. And then they're embarrassed because it may happen. It can be embarrassing and it also can be overwhelming. Some of them I've had where they've said, no, nothing's happened, but there's a long story to that. And others, they're really overwhelmed and they're really tired and exhausted. Different experiences, different people. But what I can say to you is that anybody here from anywhere can get lost. Don't assume that you know where you're going and you know what you're doing. It's easy. I myself got lost a couple of times, but I managed to find myself, and I was one of those ones who turned up an hour late and said, I just went for an extra, maybe had a little walk around somewhere. But I must tell you, as an organizer and as those people who are going constantly, every year, alhamdulillah, lillahi alhamd, that getting lost is something that can happen. And the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, when we go to Mina, it's important that you familiarize yourself with the place. Familiarize yourself with Mina, the tent around you, within the tents that you are in. So you could be in number 34 or number 35. For example, our group will be in number 35. So whichever group you're in, you should ensure that you stay in that camp number, okay? And you look at big, large landmarks or signs, okay, when you arrive, inshaAllah ta'ala. Is that clear, inshaAllah? So what will happen is sometimes you're looking around and within the actual 35 or 34 or 32 or 22 or whichever group or continent you're in, right? Even if it's from Africa or from Europe or from South Asia, they all have numbers. America, Australia, Europe, Turkey, all of that is under the red area, and that has 1 or 2 or whatever, up to 50, 60, 70 numbers. Each camp has 5,000 people. I'll say that again. Each camp has 5,000 people. So if you imagine there's about 50 camps, right? It's quite a large, vast area, okay? And if you're in north, sometimes what happens, you look at the tents and it looks exactly the same. You see 34, I'm 35, right? This year we're 35, so I see 35. I go inside, I see all African brothers. What's going on? I'm not in the right continent, right? And then you realize you're like miles away. You ask somebody, and unfortunately, one thing to advise is all brothers and sisters who go to Hajj, whichever country you're from, whichever area you're from, remember that those volunteers in Hajj are working just like us only for those 5 days of Hajj in Mina. They don't live there. It's a barren area. The whole year they don't know it. They don't go and train there. So most of the police officers there will not be able to help you, unfortunately. The best option would be to ask scouts or people, volunteer, young people who have maps, and you figure it out using their help. But again, even the maps are confusing, right? So even with the numbers and things, the numbering system. So be aware, stay with your group, follow the landmarks, and when you're in your tent area, as soon as you arrive, familiarize yourself with your tent, inshaAllah ta'ala. Right, you have a picture in front of you of Mina, and this is a typical tent. Actually, this is more nicer tent, right, than the usual tents. The only thing I would say, it's a bit deceiving. It's a bit deceiving. Why is it deceiving? In front of you, so you arrive at your camp and you'll see these sofa beds, right? And each company from Europe, America, Australia, they take different services. So some people have this kind, some people have the smaller version, some people have, just carpet, some people have sleeping mats, different people have different things now. The main thing that I would say is deceiving about this picture is that one is sitting, it's a sofa bed, so there's a chair and then there's a bed, and there's a chair and there's a bed, so there's no gaps actually. You see the gap, that would be another bed. So it's not as spacious as it seems. It would be that that person next to you, brother or sister, would be on your shoulder. And that is your space. You have to imagine when you're in Hajj, as if, I wouldn't say grave, but more or less that's your space. The space that, your grave space, I would say, similar. Literally, your right and your left, there's somebody next to you. And that is part of how they're going to fit for 3.5 million people in one place where they cannot expand Mina. Can they expand Mina, the area? Because it's been set. They cannot expand it. Though people are increasing every year. There was a suggestion this year for bunk beds. But bunk beds would be, I think, chaos. Because then who's going to go on the top? And who's going to come on the bottom? And then who's going to pray? And how are you going to pray salah? And then it's hot on the top, because heat rises and all sorts. So there'll be all sorts of problems. And even how do you get on? Because you'd need an area beside. If it's adjacent to each other, you'd have to get on one and walk all the way across to your bed. It doesn't make sense. So it's very difficult. But it was suggested this year. We said no. But they are thinking of ways in which to accommodate. Probably there's one small area in Mina which has like high-rise towers. In future, that may be the future of Mina. We don't know. Well, let's see what happens. But I think the minister has said that we need to keep it as simple as possible. Otherwise, the feeling of Hajj will go. Imagine going to hotels in Mina. Then that would have been not the feeling of Hajj. So this is how Mina looks, insha'Allah ta'ala. So you'll all receive a pillow, some blanket and things like that. So there's no need to take a sleeping bag or anything with you, insha'Allah ta'ala. That's in general. Coming back to the fiqh, coming back to how and what happens. First of all, I want to make clear one more thing. In terms of the days in the Arabic calendar, the night comes before the day. Are you aware of this? So if I say to you 8th of Dhul Hijjah, right? The night of it is the day before. And you know this from Ramadan, and when we have Eid and things like that, then we know that we look for the moon in the night before, right? From Maghrib onwards. So the same way, on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, the night before, people begin to embark to Mina. So it's not like you're going to leave on the morning. You'll leave, insha'Allah ta'ala. 3.5 million people are moving from one place to another place. There is a big logistical job, and it will happen throughout the night. And you could go in groups. Some of you in this group might be going in the early hours of the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, meaning the night. So 7th of Dhul Hijjah evening. Yes. Okay. So what that means is the night before. Okay. Some of you might go in the middle of the night, some of you after Fajr, depending on the timings. And that will be given to you at that time. And you just follow that system, insha'Allah ta'ala, and the numbering system that is given to you. There's no need to hang around and say, when am I going to go? What time, according to Sharia, should you arrive there? You should pray Dhuhr there, in Mina. So you go all the night, and even if you miss Fajr in Mina, no problem. You come after Fajr and you pray Dhuhr in Mina. Insha'Allah ta'ala. Insha'Allah ta'ala. So you pray Dhuhr, the action of the first day. Let's talk about the first day one more time. The first day, 8th of Dhul Hijjah, what are the actions of Mina? We pray Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha and Fajr in their times, shortening when needed, meaning shortening Dhuhr and Asr and Isha to 2 rak'ah. This is the actions of the first day. Al-Mabitu fi Mina. To stay in Mina is part of, this is the first day of Hajj. Just staying in Mina. As I said to you, familiarize yourself with, there's maps there, look out for landmarks. For Europa, America and Australia, the best place to remember is Mina Al-Wadi Hospital, which is Mina Valley Hospital, the Valley of Mina Hospital. And that's the largest landmark near to the Europa, America, Australia camps. Wherever you are, you think, if you see a large bridge, say for example, you think, okay, I have to be near the bridge. And which bridge? What's the name of the bridge? And then you think of that. If I am now, Europa camps for us, it's the Mina Wadi Mustashfa. That's the largest thing. If you're really far away, you ask anybody the direction to that place. From there, it's about 10-minute walk. Okay? So that's how you figure out where you are. Okay, so the day of, apart from prayers, what other things do we need to do on that day? You use your time to review the manasik of Hajj. Ma ma'na manasik? What does manasik mean? The rituals or the rites of Hajj. You review them. You think about tomorrow, what am I doing? Tomorrow is going to be the greatest day of Hajj. Maybe in my life, I am going to Arafah and I'm going to ask for forgiveness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And inshaAllah, all my du'as are accepted. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. So if I'm going to Arafah on that day, for the great day of Arafah, tomorrow, and it's the day before, if I'm going to do something great or meet someone great, there's some kind of tajheez. Just like we're making preparation now, there's some kind of preparation that needs to be done on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. And that is pondering, reflecting, thinking about all the things that we've done in our lives and all the things that we ask for repentance for. And thinking about all the people behind that we left behind. And thinking about Allah's khalq and creation. And thinking about all of the rituals and the rites of Ibrahim and Ismail alayhim salam and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is what we do at that time. We also listen to lectures rather than spending it in time maybe gossiping or chatting, using it in something that is fihi khair, some goodness in it, some benefit in it, insha'Allah ta'ala. And we gather our thoughts and prepare for the next important day, the day of Arafah. So the first day, insha'Allah ta'ala, is complete. But before we move on, there is one more thing. There is a masjid called Al-Khayf, Masjid Al-Khayf. It is reported that 70 prophets prayed in this masjid. Okay? And spending this night in Mina is sunnah. For some scholars, it is wajib. Remember, this Masjid Al-Khayf is far from where we are. So there's no need to go over there. There's no need to go there. Your mabitu fi Mina is the important task. Staying in Mina in your tents. In fact, 10 minutes walk in this heat outside is very overwhelming anyway. I'd rather sit in and just continue my dhikr and remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Spending this night in Mina is a sunnah. For some scholars it is wajib.